Elder statesman and convener of Pan-Niger Delta Development Forum, PANDEF, Chief Edwin Clark, has called on the federal government to act fast and provide succor for citizens affected by the floods in the Niger Delta region. While addressing the deplorable conditions of flood victims, the elder statesman says the federal government has not done enough to reduce the plight and sufferings of flood victims. Clark says there is a humanitarian crisis in Bayelsa State as those affected by flooding lack food and access to proper medical supplies. The elder statesman is calling on relevant ministries, departments and agencies to act fast by providing relief materials to states of the Niger Delta and all the parts of the country ravaged by flood. And for more on the issue concerning flood in Nigeria, let's bring in Clement. He is the Director General of the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency. Clement, thank you so much for being here.
Yes,
well, it seems like I'm seeing you way too many times, but of course it's because this conversation, it is germane that we have it. Just during the course of the week, I saw the release by your agency alongside NIMET, where you're saying the worst is yet to come, even though over 600 lives have been lost. Talk to us about that.
Thank you so much for the intro. The things I've seen on the clips. The Nigerian Hydrological Service Agency commiserates with the families that have lost their loved ones in the course of this flooding. But the statement we issued jointly, what we are saying is the water is receding. For instance, in Lokoja, which is the epicenter of flooding, the convergence of the two major rivers, the flood level is drastically going down below what we saw on the 4th of October, which was higher than what occurred on the 29th of September 2012. By saying that, we mean states downstream Lokoja are yet to get out of it. Even while Lokoja, or Kogi State in particular, when I say Lokoja, the flood level will be going down gradually. Still, there are local governments within Kogi State, like Ebaji, that will still remain underwater. Then whatever we saw in Lokoja, say on that 4th of October, and they continue the release of water from the other countries, like in particular Cameroon. We still have some time to travel down and then attenuate, go down to Niger Delta states before emptying to the Atlantic Ocean. That is to say, we are not yet out of it.
Right, we're not yet out of it, but if you look at the fact that 233 local governments, as at the last check, in about 32 states and the Federal Capital Territory have been affected by this, I do know that ample warnings came as early as February. What would you say happened between February and when this flooding disaster started in September? How could this have been avoided?
See, that's what we have been emphasized or been speaking about, that the early warnings given by the forecasting agencies at the federal level, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency and the Nigerian Hydrological Service Agency, those warnings weren't quite heeded by the sub-nationals. For instance, I saw in Delta State, you saw the amphibious equipment that can work on water and on land, trying to excavate at a particular time of the year.
While the disaster has already consumed some lives and properties.
You look for the black sheep in the afternoon, not in the night. So when those warnings are given, those advisories are given, it is expected that the states will go to work. Look at for the area that have been pinpointed, red flags have been raised in your own state. For instance, the Honorable Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Suleiman Adam, each time this forecast is being made, is being released to the public, annual flood outlook, he personally endorses letters to each state governor, receives a letter with a package, and that letter, one-page letter, will contain the names of local government areas in that particular state. Then the booklet that gives you the general overview of the whole country, also attached and delivered appropriate to this government house. So it is expected that the state should run with it. In developed class of people, when people take things serious, once In fact, every day you look at the weather advisories to know where to go, whether you should go out at all. But when these are given, people go to sleep. They don't remember it. Whereas at the state level, you have various agencies of state government that go hand. Each state has its own state emergency management agency, or supposedly should have, because I know that in some states maybe other 2-3 people are just there, drawn from some other offices. Don't you have any vehicle to move?
So Clement, at the end of the day, when these warnings were released, I remember that there were categories of, the impact of the flooding. And I do know that states like Adamawa, Benue, Kogi, Kwara, Anambra, Imo, Delta, and Bayelsa were put on the red alert. But in all of the states, some of them didn't see as much devastation compared to others. If you look at states like Gombe now, for instance, even Adamawa to a certain extent, we're not seeing as high casualties as we're experiencing from states like Anambra and even Delta. So what would you say this state did differently, so that way maybe others can learn to mitigate the impact as we move forward and the rains are still coming down?
The major factor responsible for flooding is the precipitation, the rainfall. This particular year, even just as predicted by NIMET, many cities or states experienced above normal rainfall. For instance, Jigawa. In some locations, maybe in a whole year, should experience about 800 millimeters of rainfall. About half of it occurred in a few hours. Heavy amount of rainfall of high intensity and over a short period translates to flooding, and then coupled with anthropogenic activity of human beings, blockage of drainages and so on and so forth. So, like your question, it is a prediction which is subject to vagaries of weather, climate change, but it is a working tool that people should work with, and you don't lose anything when you err on the side of caution. When you've been told, be careful about these locations, better heed the warning. Even if at the end of the day, it doesn't come as predicted, you have not lost anything.
Okay. As it stands right now, Nigeria produces less than 1% of global greenhouse gas emissions, but actually suffers one of the worst devastation. And Nigeria is also categorized as one of the top 10 countries most vulnerable to climate change in the world. These predictions are out there, but at the end of the day, lives are being lost, properties, farmlands, food insecurity, major challenge going by the predictions. So you are the experts here. Talk to us about how, beyond the warnings that are being released year in, year out, how can this be prevented? This state, what should they be doing to prevent the loss of lives and properties moving forward?
And at the global level, there is a shift in terms of rainfall. Now, we expect that once we get these advisories, for instance, someone was asking, what did you do as an agency? We can't travel from here to Bayelsa or Delta and begin to do physical work in their environment after having given them the advice. We expect that instead of using those excavators to begin to clear under the rain this time, September, please, by the month of December, go and do an audit of your environment. You will see the signature of the flood. It will tell you the extent it has reached. And then take appropriate measures. One, remove structures that are impeding the flow of runoff. Two, widen your drainage systems. Don't just do the room of tomb and then just make it 2 feet or 3 feet. Do proper design. There are experts everywhere. Proper design. Clear the blocked drainages. Don't allow people to build without proper design and then making provision for the drainage system. This is one of the things that could be done. And then heed the warnings where you need to evacuate the people. Please, once you get these early advisories, make preparation. But federal government have been doing a lot, like what you saw Nema DG talking down, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs also saying. And I'm aware that under the Presidential Committee on Flood Relief and Rehabilitation, co-chaired by Alajaliko Danguta and Chief Olisa Abakoba, IDP flood houses have been built, about 48 of them, past about 24 states that are very critical, that are provided with so many facilities, like a student dormitory, that during this period of the year, states should evacuate their citizens, make use of those places it has a clinic, it has a full-fledged hostel. So the state should team up with the federal government.
Right.
Ask any of the states, what did they do? Maybe around April, March, January this year, what did they do to prepare themselves? Except now that we are inside the flood, and then you can see activities as it were all over the place.
Well, hopefully we learn some lessons, because climate change is here to stay, so we have to find a way to live around it. We'd have to say thank you so much to you. Clement, Director General of the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency. Thank you so much and well done.